Evil Geniuses, this year's boys in blue, Mason, Universe, PPD, ViCi and EG. Young players to the tournament. Can they handle the pressure? I think they definitely could if they get a good start, but we've got 1 minute until we're going to be going into the game. What do they need to do, EG, to take down Vici? Because we've seen what Vici can bring to the table, and it's a lot.
Exactly, they saw what Vici can do, so they can take that learning from that advantage and knowing that Vici Gaming didn't see EG play in the last couple of days, so use that.
Yeah, try to put Vici in there, not in their comfort zone. I don't know if that's even possible to get them out of their comfort zone because they seem to be able to play everything. EG just have to play to their strengths. Go fight, go ham.
I think that EG just needs to draft unpredictably. The only reason they lost to Newbie was just because Newbie knew exactly what they were going to throw. Safe lane Enigma, exact hero picks for RTZ, so just change it up.
All right, well, we'll see. We're at 10 seconds. Audience, do you mind giving us a countdown?
Remaining.
1 game away, 1 series away from getting into the grand finals, and we'll start with this game. And already a couple of bans, a couple of picks out. So Malini, do you want to catch us up?
Sure. It looks like our Evil Geniuses will start on the dire side this game, so we may see some Ursa shenanigans. They will ban out the Lich and the Lycanthrope. Vici on the Radiant side, no Tinker for RTZ, no Titanfall for Universe. And looking at the draft, Brewmaster for Mason, this has actually been an interesting point that some people have talked about, is Mason's limited hero pool. And he plays like Weaver and Mirana very, very well. His other ones are actually dubious. Bruno, why are you looking at me all funny?
I'm not caught. I'm not caught up yet. No, I think we are caught up. Yeah. We're there now. Okay.
Sorry, yeah.
So over to the Evil Geniuses ban. Already, that Shadow Shaman and Brewmaster suggests that, yeah, they've got one of their favorite supports or strong support throughout the tournament doing really well, and also the Brewmaster for fighting. But
Vici Gaming's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds.
Hello, yeah.
Yay!
Okay, yeah, haha, we're back.
Sorry, Shiva had a really foul mouth during the draft. We had to, we had to just mute it for a second.
I'm sorry, it won't happen again.
That's all right, Shiva. We forgive you. All right, so continuing into the draft, Naga Simon's going to be removed by Vici Gaming. As we mentioned, Vici Gaming got what they want. Doesn't really show exactly what they're going to do. Nature's Prophet and Razor, but of course you're going to be worried already about the push.
Yeah, and again, we're gonna see what happens with that. Vici Gaming is playing into a lineup, but what I wanted to say is EG bringing that safe lane Brewmaster, so they will also bring some strong heroes for Universe and RTZ. There's this concept in basketball called the triple threat, like you have 3 big guys who can actually attack and do damage to your defense, and that's EG as well, because if Mason isn't having a good game, Universe and RTZ will pick it up, and vice versa. If anything, they will match up very, very well in each lane.
Yeah, I think for Vici Gaming, they have got 2 heroes that we've seen Sylar play Razor, we've seen Sylar play Nature's Prophet, we've seen Super play both heroes as well. They're very versatile so far as well, and I think they kind of have the same idea to it as EG does, as you just pointed out. 3 core heroes, and if one doesn't work out, there'll be another one to back it up. Both Nature's Prophet and Razor, both very strong heroes, and able to just make the game their own if they choose to.
Yeah, Vici's just very flexible, so you don't know who's going to play Nature's Prophet.
Exactly.
It could be Super, it could be ROTK. I'm likely to think that, or it could be a Sylar one rather. and he does get that early orchids often and encounters so many heroes like Brewmaster.
Again, it's going to be a Sand King, and we have probably the two supports, Shadow Shaman and Sand King. They can create a lot of stuff, they can roam together, create a lot of space, farm the jungle. These two guys are really efficient. Zai and PPD will have to bring the raid game. But also, the thing that I'm concerned about is that EG are still leaving the door open to the Death Prophet with which Vici Gaming did so much damage.
Evil Geniuses has so much team fight, though. I don't necessarily think they're scared of Vici's 5-man Deathball, and they still have a big team fight hero in Universe if they want to go that route. He can always pick up the Faceless Void as he's been playing so many times.
Yep, definitely the Sand King adds a lot of oomph to the team fight that Evil Genius is needed, and you can tell from the last two bans, the Veno and also the Pugner, that they are worried about Vici just getting momentum in this game and then getting the push. So Evil Geniuses show their supports. Vici Gaming, they look to pick and see if they can take advantage of this, but they can go a lot of places. Vici, they seem quite versatile with the two heroes that they have. And they banned out the Naga Siren aimed at the Arteezy and also the Enigma aimed at Zai, but I think Zai is just as dangerous when he plays his Sand King if he wants to play that hero.
Yeah, both Shadow Shaman and Sand King are kind of supports that you want to put a lot of money on, and also, of course, Sand King can actually go into the jungle and get a fairly fast Blink Dagger if he chooses to, if he gets the space, let's just put it at that. Shadow Shaman and Sand King can also roam together, so perhaps we'll see a Boots first Sand King. It's very versatile, even though both supports are very specific in what they do, they can actually fulfill multiple roles very early on. I'm just curious which one they'll decide to put most of their money on in this case.
I like how Evil Geniuses picked up Sand King and Brew for Zai and Mason respectively instead of drafting more late game. We've seen Zai play like heroes that are really good in late game like Enigma and Ursa, and they tend to not fall off like Sand King, but if you're Evil Geniuses, you're worried about getting to that 35, that 40-minute stage in the game without giving up too many Roshans and towers.
And Rubik picked up for Vici Gaming. Good hero in this game. Going to add a little bit of magic resistance to the Sand King ulti, but also a lot of nice spells to steal. Burrow Strike is huge on Rubik. That can turn fights. Also, if you're lucky enough to get the Brewmaster split, that can also be big to the Rubik. So Rubik's been working out for Vici Gaming thus far. And actually, Evil Geniuses are going to pick the TA. Now, this is interesting because these two did meet in the group stages, and Evil Geniuses ended up winning over Vici Gaming, and they did play the Templar Assassin.
Yep.
So they're going to bring back the TA. It was successful for them last time in the group, and they go for it again, and yeah, it's a lot of physical damage.
It was really effective. They had the TA as well, and they had a lot of lockdown in the support. It was Mirana Shadow Demon back then, it was not Rasabat. They still fulfill the same purpose. The carry player in that case was Morphling. He just will melt early game to these kind of ganks. If Arteezy starts rotating with the Templar Assassin, he will create so much space. And now with the Rubik Leshrac, I'm still not particularly scared because unless the Leshrac actually pops the Diabolic Edict, there's nothing in Vici Gaming's lineup that can do multiple instances of damage. So if you want to burn through that refraction, you will have to right-click through it.
Yeah, and Mirana actually could still get picked up by EG here as well if they want to maybe go slightly aggressive, which is definitely something that they could be doing with the heroes they have. Mirana would not be the odd one out, and we could even see Brewmaster off lane, although not really a typical Universe hero.
The most important thing for Vici Gaming is stopping Evil Genius's Roshan attempts, though. They have Shadow Shaman and Templar Assassin, and even if you want to take a fight there, you have a Sand King hidden somewhere and a Brewmaster ultimate. So I think Evil Geniuses probably gets the first Roshan for sure, and that will prove to be a lot of trouble for Vici if they're looking to get towers.
Oh, that's an old one. We bring back the Universe Darkseer. In my opinion, he's the best Darkseer in the world. And with this lineup, he has the potential to create so much. We're going to see what happens. USA.
Not only do I think he's the best Darkseer in the world, it's by a pretty large margin, too. Yeah. He is phenomenal with Darkseer.
They're going to add a lot of synergy with their team as well, especially with that Sand King. But you know, sometimes we've had some Darkseers play in this tournament, and the only thing that's really hurting them is just level dependent. You know, they really get shut down. So it's hopefully Universe, if he gets a decent game, if you're an Evil Geniuses fan, he'll be able to really kind of contribute to these fights, because if he does and he gets that kind of Blink Dagger mech, we often see Darkseers going much more towards the Blink Dagger in the later stages of this year. It's such a good initiation, and it also helps out the Sand King, the Brew, the Templar Templar in terms of having another person that can initiate if you can get that Blink Dagger. So it can be very dangerous for what actually looks like, if you think about the Shrek, Rubik, and Nature's Prophet, a pretty squishy lineup.
And also not a very mobile lineup. So in terms of getting Blink Daggers, Sand King, T8, Darkseer, Shadow Shaman, Brew, go 5 Blinks, and I mean really, Vici Gaming is not going to be able to run away from
I mean, I'd much rather see the TA kind of go for that like Mushi build, you know, in terms of the Yasha or drums to start with, but certainly it'll be pretty deadly as a combo with Darkseer and Sand King manage to get themselves a Blink, and that will be a sign of evil geniuses.
Final 5 seconds for Vici Gaming. They have to pick a hero right now. They go with the second, taking a page out of LGD's blade.
And now they can run away if they need to. They needed some mobility. I like it.
They would have really liked the Doom. I think that's why Darkseer fell off a lot, is because of the popularity of Doom. So here we go.
All right. Well, the crowd's ready for this. We're ready as well. And it looks like the players from both teams are picking up their heroes. You can see Universe taking out Darkseer. Super will be playing the Razor. Cider on his Nature's Prophet has worked out so well. And this game, you need momentum going into this series. It will be about momentum. It will be very hard to come back even from a 1-0 deficit. So first game, overly important, and especially for EG as it's their first time playing on stage. Vici Gaming going to be a little bit happier maybe with the warm-up that they've had. We'll see if they can take that momentum through as well. So let's get into the game, and we go over to our commentators. It's LD and Cinderin.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're live here from Key Arena for the lower bracket finals. I'm LD. Of course, to my left is Cinderin. Cind, this is going to be a good one. Evil Geniuses, the home crowd favorite, but up against a very impressive-looking Vici Gaming. They took down DK, RTK, and Super once kicked from that team and replaced for the current DK roster. Some called them the Dream Team. They proved it wrong, and now they look to do the same to EG.
It's true. It's kind of been a... Oops, let me just fix that. Oh, there we go. Yeah, Vici have been on a roll today, honestly. They've been very, very impressive, and EG are going to have a hard game ahead of them. What I want to point out about this game, and that it seemed like the panel were really happy about too, is the Darkseer pick. I think this hero has been forgotten. I was talking to Matt about it yesterday, saying, where did Darkseer go? He's actually a great hero, especially on the Radiant, and we couldn't really find a conclusion as to why this hero was never picked up. I think that the Doom call was a really good one. Doom has kind of taken over in the offlane in many cases, and when he's picked up, Darkseer gets a lot weaker, but if there is a team that brings Darkseer back, it will have to be EG with Universe on it, arguably the best Darkseer player in the world.
Yeah, and what's amazing to me, actually, if you look at the draft, was Doom was banned with the 5th ban. It was ignored, I don't think so surprising by EG, but especially by Vici Gaming. They first picked that hero time, so, well, we'll see if they end up regretting it. But with that being said, let's go ahead and introduce our teams. Our challenger who had to work through the bracket the hard way today, it's Vici Gaming on the Radiant. You've got RTK playing the Centaur Warrunner, the Razor going mid, being handled by Super. You'll have Fenrir on the support Leshrac, FY the Rubik, and then in the bottom lane goes Sylar as the Nature's Prophet, and they'll get a haste rune to start this one off. It is spotted out, though, by an EG ward.
And for Team EG going from the bottom up, it's going to be Universe in the offlane on the Darkseer. In the mid lane, it will be Arteezy playing as the Templar Assassin. PPD will be playing the Shadow Shaman support. We've got Zai on one of his best heroes, the Sand King, and then finally Mason, as expected by the panel, will be playing the Brewmaster.
I want to quickly point out, Vici Gaming, very, very good at the dual roam. And Arteezy's Fairy Day. He's actually started with boots first on TA, and this is not a common build for him by any means. Helps you a bit against the Razor as well, but still Super, draining a lot of damage to start the lane off.
This is, in my book, the hardest one-on-one lane for Templar Assassin out of any, at least with the hero pool that's being played right now. Razor will just beat heroes that don't have any alternative way of farming apart from attack damage, and Templar Assassin is completely built around that. So when you drain the damage with Static Link, Templar Assassin loses all her laning presence. So Super should be able to
they're going to find PPD here in the woods. Fenrir could go for a stun. The Shaman is quite slow, and well, there will be a stun, but no real follow-up here, just harassment for now. But it keeps PPD off the creeps, and it disrupts any potential stacking, while RTK top is going to be absolutely fine. He's really not under too much pressure at the early levels from a Sand King and a Brew. The one lane we haven't looked at yet, it's going to be Sylar bottom on the Nature's Prophet, and he has been sensational on this hero. I think maybe just as good, if not better, than his Morphling, which is frankly saying a lot. This time, though, he's up against Darkseer, a matchup that traditionally has favored Darkseer players, but for now we see it going pretty even, and the quick phase boots likely to come out here from Sylar.
Yeah, with the aggressive trial lane being played by Vici Gaming in this game, I think Universe will be looking to start
top lane. Here we go. The stun can follow this one, but a nice burrow might allow them to disengage. RTK gets shackled up as well, and PPD will be forced to retreat, but EG dodging a potential first blood there if they got the Centaur hook stomp.
Top lane will definitely be the lane to watch. Once again, whenever it's a try versus try lane, that's where you generally want to focus your attention, since there's going to be a lot of stuff going down. It's pretty inevitable here. Now, with EG safe laning a Brewmaster, playing a safe lane carry against Centaur in a try versus try is really scary because it's incredibly easy for Vici Gaming to set up a combination for RTK in this lane. If Mason goes in for a last hit, they can telekinesis him, toss him into the hoof stomp, and then follow through with the splitter from Fenrir. So the laning here from Vici is very strong. Now, since they're also gonna win mid by default, I think they're off to a great start. I guess the one hard lane to call is the bottom lane. I would say, like you said, Dox here, in theory, has quite an advantage here, but if Sylar plays as well, I don't think they'll be gaining enough to justify losing mid as hard as they are right now. There's the cutting of the weight from Universe. It's about time.
Yeah, he's going to start skipping now. The Prophet is getting close to phase boots, and Sylar has the gold for this, so it means he's a little bit more difficult to dive under the tower. But the nice thing about Dark's here off lane, and one of the reasons why we saw it picked for a long time against these aggressive tri-lane with Prophet supporting safe, is as soon as you leave the lane, Darkseer could just take the tower. He pushes really fast with the creep skipping, and at least EG will get that trade. But, of course, if you bring Sylar top, you get 2-3 kills. It's still going to be worth it for Vici, so it's just really going to come down if they find the opening Sind. And with this Observer Ward here, towards the top lane, they've got a nice vision of the dire jungle.
Bottom lane, Universe actually going for here on Sylar, but...
Oh, Sprouted. There's no vacuum yet. This could be bad. He's under tower. Universe dropping low. He's got a self. He can't get it off. Oh, Universe. It's so rare to see him ever give up an early kill.
Especially in one-on-one. I've only seen it once before this tournament. I believe it was as Tidehunter against Death Prophet, which was against Team Newbie in the winner's bracket, I believe.
And there was some support for the Death Prophet in that lane, at least at some parts of the game. At the time when he died, it was 1v1, but I seem to remember there was a support there earlier.
And this is huge, because this was not a lane that Sylar should be winning, but now he's more than a full level ahead of Universe. He will have the ultimate, the Wrath of Nature. And because of that, he'll be able to help the other lanes. Like, he's going to steal the rune here from Arteezy, who was desperately looking for some sort of impact in this mid lane.
And Vici Gaming have found the stack. They've dropped a Sentry Ward down there as well. So they know what the Sand King's up to. And they're not going to give him a free early Blink Dagger, something that, frankly, Zai is accustomed to having. Whether he's Enigma, whether he's Sand King, he finds this farm as fast as any other support out there. I think equal to AUI 2000 in that regard. But, well, he's not going to have access to it. And if he goes for it, Sin, the Prophet you mentioned can really help out.
And we haven't talked that much about the farm in the top lane, but it's a try versus try. The Centaur has 26 for 13. The Brewmaster 8 for 0.
They're wrapping around. Are they going to bring in the Prophet here? They used the ult earlier. It didn't really do anything. Just pushed out the wave a bit. I'm surprised they didn't reserve that for a potential engagement, but...
Wise decision from Vici to not go for that dive. The creep wave already on the Leshrac, who has 500 health, so...
And for now, Sylar is with he's just going for that early Orchid Rush that we've seen. Picks up the additional robe of the Magi. He starts to hit pretty hard with the Sin. It's about 100 damage already on a hero with phase boots. Even with the Surge that can come out from Universe, you can still do a couple of extra auto attacks even as he runs away, and that can make the difference. They're trying to get their stacks off now, but Arteezy won't be able to resort to this. The Sand King can get a little bit out of the medium camp, but the supports are just waiting to go. And as soon as that Prophet ult cools down in 30, they'll have a +1. EG spouted out again. Can they get in range for anything? No, not able to do so yet.
The problem for EG here is that all of the heroes need this stack, actually. If only they could all get the full gold from this, then they might be back to even. That's how grim it looks. It's a 2,000 gold lead at 6 minutes without a tower taken. They're just flat out losing all 3 lanes. And it's not just by a little bit. The mid lane, I think, is just flat out impossible for TA without help, so I'm not surprised to see that. The top lane, I guess...
There's a lift on Zai. The stun is going to come through from Fenrir. He's got Burrow, and the Prophet ult, it's too much. Zai can't get away. Just no chance for him there. And once again, the global presence just being that X factor for Vici. The only piece of good news I was going to say is their supports are a bit under level, but with that, they actually get back on top, so both level 3, and now the push begins.
Sala's porting in. Do they have a Ring of Aquila? Yes, they do. They have one on Razor, so...
And what does TA do here? I mean, not only can you not do much in the late Sid, but you can't depush at all. And actually, EG...
That hero doesn't play well from behind either.
And EG gold up on the depush in general. They have a level 2 Ether Shock, which is okay. Panda can blink and clap, but he's only got level 2 clap and no blink for now, and And Sand King's, frankly, pretty useless there. If you try to go into Sandstorm, they're just going to drop a sentry, lift you, and you're dead. So they almost have to go for trades, but with that tower down, Vici are not going to just let them sit back and farm. They'll get into the jungle, Vici get aggressive, and they look to disrupt the stacking here further.
But you know, it kind of tells the story of the game when 7 minutes in, EG are placing this defensive ward right here. It's one you usually see 15 minutes or later, but it goes to show how much Vici are dominating the EG side of the map. If they start playing defensively already at this point and they need to play from behind, their lineup I just don't think plays well.
They have Stampede, and Mason's going to go in, but he gets shackled. He pops the Stampede, RTK will. They stun Mason, but already it's 1 on the board for EG, and they look for more. They might find the trade here with FY. Driven back and killed off. It's 2 for nil so far.
Very important for EG to get on the board here.
Do they find more? Vacuum back in,
yes,
and now Fender is in trouble. He can get off the stun, but Universe has a surge. There's no getting away. It's a wipe of the tri-lane. And EG, it turns around and, you know, as it so often does, with the support of a guy named Universe. And I was about to say, I think he is the most important player for them right now with how the game's begun.
I agree, 100%. I was about to say that the one hero I would say EG has that's great at playing from behind is actually Darkseer. Just with levels, 8 minutes in, the level 4 Iron Shell is an incredible tool for their lineup since they have so many in-your-face heroes. They've got Brewmaster, they've got Sand King, they've got TA to throw the shells on and really run into the fight and start dealing the spread damage. And in addition to that, just getting some levels up in the Darkseer so they have a combination of Vacuum into Sand King Burrow Strike can definitely have a high impact for them. Now Vici will be taking a tower for their 2 deaths, or 3 deaths rather. So in that sense, maybe an even trade overall, but considering how well they were doing already, just for EG to get something on the board here is absolutely crucial.
And with that tower down, the dire jungle that we've talked so much about is very vulnerable. EG, no, bottom lane, they're going to go in now. They found RTZ. Can they burst him in time? Just barely pulling it off. He went for the TP out, but couldn't make it. And we already see the aggressive wards come down, Sin. There's one up in the dire woods, and I imagine they'd even like to block some camps. Universe, though, is hunting Fenrir. He surges, and he's going to die for this one. This should be the death of Leshek. No, Stampede. Stampede's there to get him out, but it does force it out at the very least at relatively little cost from EG.
At the same time, though, that relatively low cost,
it's still a tower.
I don't think
that's not low. Well,
that's really expensive.
Yeah, I don't know if they defend this one anyway, to be totally honest with you. The mech is about to come out for Super. What's worse is there's an Orchid about ready on sideline, at which point Darkseer might not be able to make any plays. You run in to go for a vacuum and you just get silenced. Same for the
10-minute Orchid phase.
All these heroes are vulnerable to it, even Panda. I mean, perhaps especially Panda.
That might be the fastest Orchid phase of all time on Nature's Prophet. I don't think I've ever seen this fast of a build-up. Salar is getting so much out of this game, and now with 4 towers claimed in a 10-minute game, are EG even close to getting a counter tower? No, they aren't. The highest damage they've dealt is bottom. That's about 450, so.
They're close to Blink Daggers. That's got to be the engine for the comeback. The Brew has a split, and he's got 1,900 gold. The Sand King, being played by Zai, has 2,041. He doesn't have Epi yet, but he is close to level 6. That's the only way I can see them turning these fights. That or just dodging them, but Vici are not going to let you dodge fights. This is one of the best teams at just forcing you to engage. 5 mana towers. We saw it against DK. They tried to split push, but they had to come because, you know, with this Razor, he's always threatening to kick down the front door. And they get the mech.
Speaking of trying to just farm, Arteezy looks like he's building a recovery Midas, I want to call this. It's not even that late,
Dire's middle tower
can you get away with this game?
I think the plan for EG is they know how far behind they are, so the goal is, okay, we're going to hope that our team fighters, the Darkseer, Sand King, and Brewmaster can find the time for Arteezy to start getting scary for the mid-late game.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Well, Vici say the mid-late game...
Is there any time? 11-minute base push?
Isn't coming. It's not coming. They're going high ground now. They're not going to let EG sit back and farm. If EG want to fight this, they got to do it the good old-fashioned way, head on. Mason does have a split ready, but remember, there's the instant Orchid silence. They might need Zai to set up the initiation here, and they will go for that. It's a Burrow and RTK, but the Centaur's not an easy kill until this. He gets shackled, pulled back in by a vacuum. Arteezy, though, he's isolated. RTK will pop Stampede, tries to retreat, and the split comes out. Now they cyclone the Razor, and they try to focus someone down, but everyone's healthy on Vici, and they're not getting kills with the split until the Epi. Zai jumping in, looking for Super, but it's not enough. The mech turns it, keeps him alive. Universe forced retreat. And now Arteezy's on an island. He can't get out. ROTK crushes him with a double edge. and they keep on pushing in now. The Brewmaster split up, pull down.
But this could be 12-minute racks. I don't think EG has anything left in the tank.
They had a 15-minute GG against DK in the group stage, and Vici Gaming, they're looking at a similar level of timing for this first lane of racks. And have they stole the split? Oh, they have! Oh no! They stole the split! This is unbearable at this point. FY though doesn't have mana for it. He actually used another stealth. He's short on it by about 10. Can they turn this on the back of that? They try to chase, but they lose the brew. They lose PPD, and Super's just terrorizing them. FY caught out, can split. He needs to do it quick, and now you go on the Universe. They'll stun him, they'll kill him, and they look for their first lane of racks. EG are getting absolutely demolished. This might be the quickest game one of the main event at the rate we're headed. What a performance so far. Can you come back for the Sins? Is there any hope for EG?
The comeback Midas, I believe.
We saw the comeback Midas on his techies, but if you're an EG fan, let's hope it goes better than that game.
This is more than 1,000 gold per minute lead for Vici Gaming. They're ahead by 14K.
They have 4 heroes atop the network.
By 2 minutes.
Jesus.
Oh my
it's
God,
not just
Vici
like he beat the record, he crushed the record.
They're not playing around. This is pretty amazing to watch from Vici Gaming. I guess looking at the main event, this is perhaps the closest we've been to the perfect game. They've set ideal lanes, all their lanes played very, very well. They made all the right calls on movement. And you know, I feel like EG are actually not even playing bad fights. They're just too far behind in a 10-minute game. The base defense was actually pretty valiant, but you know, they just can't overcome it. The very early mech on Razor, as well as the overall just tankability of the Radiant side at this point.
I mean, Arteezy's know what you do. Arteezy's now got his Midas Sword. He's just going to buy it right away, but why can't he even get to use it more than once?
If you're ready in 2 seconds, Zai might choose to go for this one, but Vici are
you got to fight in the base at this point.
Spreading in an arc like this makes it very hard for Sand King to hit a good ultimate.
And they've almost got a pipe. I think that's the biggest problem for EG, Sind, is their damage is almost entirely magical as Vici take the last tier 2 and they go on mid. They look for Arteezy, they'll lift him and drop him, and they've got traps stolen. But I don't know if they need them here. They'll stampede and they'll surround Arteezy. Hasn't even got to use the Midas, and he won't get to it all. He dies right after the delivery, and that recovery Midas is not helping him recover right now. And now they get the Necro Book as well. But the biggest problem to me, Sind, is the pipe. Once this comes out, where's your damage on EG?
It is out.
It's coming now.
He has that and an additional 500 gold. FY getting a Blink Dagger on the Rubik. They have everything they need to end the game. The only possible way EG can hold the base is with a great combination from Zai and Universe. There is no other way.
There's not even a wall. He doesn't even have a wall yet.
He has to buy a TP, so the mechanism won't be available yet. He'll be TPing to the top lane. He's 50 gold short.
Bottom tower
well, while he's busy farming that, they lose about half their health on the tower, and the creeps are pushing mid. Some of these buffer buildings will be cleaned up, but for EG, the focal point is this top lane. They've got to hold the line, or they're going to be dropping game 1, and RTK looks to finish the job. He hasn't gotten the open yet, but he moves forward. He's menacing EG back right now. And with the pipe now wearing off, if you want to go, this has got to be the time. VG will back though, and EG don't find an opening.
I don't think they're going back. I think they're just resetting. They will be going in again.
If they want to be safe,
wait for the pipe.
They could wait for it if they want to be safe.
They could use that with the next wave. It's about 30 seconds off, so the moment that reaches, it should be pretty much perfectly timed.
They're really going to play this safe.
Will just split push. He's got the Necronomicon 3 in a moment. It's Necro 3 in 50 minutes.
This is like 22-minute farm at least.
That's when you usually have the Necro Book. If you get that as your first item, you have a Necro 3 at 16. But he has a full Orchid, which is another 4,000 gold to go with it.
He's got 10k net worth. The enemy Dark Seer is released for he does have a split, but if he's forced, he can't. He gets stunned. The stun's actually going to miss, but it won't matter. Mason's done for.
No buyback.
The good news for Mason is he's only dead for 25, but that might be long enough for Vici to end this. The courier comes top with the Necro 3, actually with the Medallion, and they're just going for the high ground now. Super, popping the ultimate. We'll just begin to right-click the range racks. This is a guaranteed racks down. There won't be any region to keep it alive. And EG, they still look for the open. They do have a single point in wall, but now the pipe's out again. And they just can't go into it. They're waiting for that pipe to be down. But while EG are waiting, Vici turning the game, and GG! Vici wiped the floor. I don't think there's any other way to say it with EG in game number 1.
This is just Vici showing why they finished the group stage on top. Because what we saw from Vici in the group stage early on. Perfect laning, perfect rotations, and just they used every opening EG gave them. And I don't feel like it was that many, but they were big enough.